question. Do you think that your relationship with one of your closest friends who you could send a meme to at any time and they'll tell you to end your life because they love you caused the one that you have with your favorite fictional character? And why? Well, if you answered yes, then of course your answer is right. Yeah, mostly. This pair of psychologists looked into the role that our pre-existing attachment has in our relationship with fictional characters, and the results are pretty interesting. I will say, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I mean, and if you have time, check out the description, you know, my links and everything. Yeah. Okay, so let's do methodology. Let's get to the methods. So Marina Rain and Raymond A. Marr in 2021 from York University in Canada conducted two studies. The first one had students wanting course credit to answer questionnaires on attachment, character identification, parasocial interaction and relationships, and personalities. Loads of questionnaires and loads of measures. Whereas the second one had 414 participants from North America that were recruited through a crowdsourcing platform called Prolific. They all had favorite TV characters and completed various measures on character attachment orientation, character competence / warmth, character autonomy / social trophy, and participant personality. They got paid to do the second one, by the way. Let me just reiterate, they got paid, and I was here. I don't understand why I was not able to get this opportunity personally. I don't understand, because in 2021 I was available. I was present, but apparently I can't get anything nice. So I missed the study again. Yes, I wasn't in the US, but I could have been for you. All right. Anyway, so their findings centered around parasocial relationships and attachment. So just to reiterate, parasocial relationships are non-reciprocal relationships between somebody who is aware of the relationship and something that isn't, or someone who isn't aware of the relationship. So they're very time consuming, very energy consuming, and they are the relationships that you find with characters, but also with celebrities and with even your lecturer that might not even know you very well at all in person. There's just loads of different kind of people who you will never be able to communicate with properly. It's non-reciprocal for that reason, unless I suppose you meet them in person, then it kind of gets ambiguous how non-reciprocal it is, because if they know your face, then it's like, I know reciprocal, but the intensity is definitely not reciprocal. It's like having an acquaintance who's in love with you. It's kind of like that kind of different levels of intensity, and in love doesn't have to mean, I'm going on a tangent. Okay, so the findings, I didn't actually get every single little tiny little baby little finding, because I was trying to focus on the more important ones, because there's two studies to cover. I mean, I'm not going to cover everything. So the first one is quite interesting. The first one is a finding from specifically study 1. So only study 1 had this finding, and it said basically that anxiety predicts parasocial interaction. Parasocial interaction is not the same as parasocial relationships, but it is in the same essence. It's a measure of interaction, how much you feel like you've interacted with that person that you feel like you have a parasocial relationship with. Just to give an example, one of the items in the questionnaire actually literally asked about this statement. So they said, while watching the show, I tend to have a feeling that the character is aware of me. And then you say it's a 1 to strongly agree, and then all the way up to 7, which is strongly disagree. And yeah, so that's how they would measure it, because it's literally about interacting with the characters, even though that's literally impossible. But you do you. Yeah, it's like this basically. So yeah, anxiety predicts parasocial interaction, and it also predicts strong emotional bonds with the character in question. I mean, I'm not that surprised that feelings of unease will make people feel like they're generally communicating with Mau Mau, the queen, or like Captain Kirk, the classic, the classic TV, or Nightwing. Woo! That's my... It just says bark here. I mean, what can I say? I have eyes. I do have eyes. I do. And they're seeing. They're seeing. What other sound was I supposed to make? What other comment was I supposed to make? Okay, what other comment? The second finding is also from study 1, but I mean, we're also gonna have study 2, because obviously we don't want to be mean. But study 1 had another finding that I found very interesting, very crucial, very important to report on and tell you about, because it's going yeah, it's very, but it's not one. So they found that people who had an avoidant attachment type, which is somebody who's very independent emotionally and physically, often develops when you're young. There's like this classic thing. If any of you guys did psychology, if you know someone who did psychology, yeah, just ask them about Ainsworth attachment theory and they'll understand completely. It's basically one of her theories, or part of her theory, that some people, when they are shown to be separated from their caregivers, develop this kind of nature to be independent emotionally and physically, and that's what it means to have an avoidance attachment type. And having that, apparently, from this study's results, predicts parasocial relationships, or having parasocial relationships with a fictional character, which basically tells me that the people, not including myself, maybe including myself, who are not responding to text, calls, and messages are spending that time communicating with people on the screen. That's what it's telling me. Just letting you know. Because if somebody's not texting you back, be careful. Because they might have what we call chemical air. They might think that they're communicating through the screen. That they might be like, Rick is talking to me. What are you seeing? Rick is talking to me. I don't have time to talk to you. That might be the person that you're friends with. And I'm just gonna let you know. Or that you're related to, or whatever. Just gonna let you know. Pre-warning. Start checking for the signs. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying start checking for the signs. The third and last finding, which is very interesting, from study two, finally, we got study 2 finding, said or stated or suggested that viewers with avoidant attachment, so avoidant attachment type, identified with characters that embodied attractive traits to them. It also says that they were able to self-enhance and self-soothe independently through having this parasocial relationship and through watching their characters do things and identifying with their characters that they really liked. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know why this also sounds funny to me. I think I'm just a giggly person. I don't know why this sounds funny to me, but it's like, no, it's just because like it's literally a quote, self-enhanced and self-soothed. Because how self-enhanced sounds like Viagra, and self-soothed sounds like after you miss a deadline for something you were really trying to make at work. You missed it by 20 seconds, right? And then you just like eat from a Pringles can, the entire can in one sitting. That's what self-soothe sounds like to me. Or maybe that's just my interpretation of self-soothe from something that's happened in real life. The conclusions and takeaway are very interesting. Essentially, this study is saying that our attachment orientation and our real-world relationships influences, and even more interestingly, mirrors our parasocial relationships with fictional characters. However, what makes parasocial relationships different from the ones that we have with family and friends is the abundance of choice that we have in the relationship and with who we're having the relationship with, and the safety from rejection that we feel with this relationship. What do you think though? What do you think? Is there something else that you can think of that makes parasocial relationships so starkly different or special from real world relationships? Or do you think that they're more or less the same, that they are very similar? Like, what do you think? If you wanna do one thing, then subscribe. Check out the videos in the Psychology of Fiction playlist. Then I say a quirky goodbye. I don't want somebody to recognize this melody. I mean, and by somebody I mean YouTube algorithm. Anyways, then yeah, here's the goodbye. Jan Yong. Expectations, I can't remember her name though. Expectations by the girl who left Fifth Harmony, one of the girls in Fifth Harmony. I like that song, it's pretty good.